The power bar has a chance right here for a little resurgence, man. Chris Curtis is coming in with a lot of steam behind him, a lot of hype, a lot of views, which absolutely he deserves 100%. But power bar has an opportunity to really get things done, especially if he can bring it to Chris Curtis early in the fight.
Let's take a look at these numbers right here, man. Does this not surprise you? You don't see which is which. Obviously, you could use logic to kind of intuit it, right? But 5.36 strikes landed per minute on the left side, 5.95 on the right side. If you had to take a guess, you would think the higher count is for Chris Curtis, but we scroll up, man. That's just the power bar, man. He's got more output, little less accuracy, doesn't take as many strikes per minute. Slightly, pretty much the same defense. Takedown average a little bit more. I mean, the numbers are all citing for the power bar, but, you go take a little closer look and, it just doesn't quite add up that way, man. So why do we like Chris Curtis in this matchup? If you watch the TLDR, you saw that's the pick, right? But why do we like Chris Curtis? And in my opinion, I think it's that Philly shell, shoulder roll style, middle of the cage. I'm going to counter strike you. I'm going to hit you where it hurts. And I'm just going to stay on you for 3 rounds. Now, the problem that I see in that is that lack of output is always Chris Curtis's problem. He's down. He lands the big shot. He wins. Can the power bar just point his way to a victory right here?
I do not think so, Derek. I mean, it might be the power bar, but still, that output I do think has a serious impact on his gas tank. And we've seen him slow down in the fights. And that's really why I like Chris Curtis right here, because if he can stay with that Philly shell, duck a lot, miss a lot, or have you miss a lot, and then connect and still be there consistently putting that pressure on, I think that's going to be the optimum route for Chris Curtis.
If you look at the last 2 wins, man, they're big wins, but it's against Eric, your boy, Anders, which was an interesting fight, and Julian Marquez, the Cuban Missile Crisis, right? Now, the reason that I point these out is because if you look at those fighters versus Chris Curtis, I see major differences, right? Both of them slower, harder punchers. Gas tank isn't phenomenal. Chris Curtis, on the other hand, you don't really see him slowing down. We saw him stuff 20 takedowns from Rodolfo Vieira, right? And still pushing strong in your face. I don't think cardio is going to be an issue right here. The only thing, like I said, I'm just going to repeat it again because it does concern me. I can see a volume play right here. Barriult just pushing him back against the cage, doing the whole 9, right? I can see that happening if Chris Curtis is looking to sharpshoot just a little bit too much, because that's the problem that I have. It's not even a matter that it's the wrong approach. It's that sharpshooting takes away from your overall volume, similarly to Mayra Bueno Silva. She looked for the big knockout shot. Well, what are you doing in between? The other person just pointing away at you, right? So let me ask you, 20 takedown stuffed more or less against Vieira, can Barriult get this fight to the ground?
I don't think so, Derek. I think Chris Curtis has the speed and the strategy to be able to avoid that. But I mean, admittedly, when power bar's backs against the cage and then Chris Curtis is still pushing it, it's going to be his best chance. And when Chris Curtis has that tendency to, like you say, look for the big shot, because he gets a little agitated, a little angry, and goes not necessarily against the game plan, but really looks to hurt you, that's going to be the power bar's best shot. And what I like most about that is they're both going to be meeting head to head right there. So the shot opportunity will be presenting itself.
I don't know if Marc-Andre Barriult is confident enough, and this is going to sound crazy, but hear me out. I don't know if he's confident enough to put himself in a position like Joaquin Buckley did, where trade for trade, blow for blow, and he gets knocked out. I think he respects the offense of Chris Curtis. I think somewhat vice versa as well. But I have a hard time seeing a knockout here because I don't think that Barriult will put him in position to just open up enough to let himself get knocked out. Do you agree?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, because it's a weird double-edged sword, because you got to get in there to do some damage to Chris Curtis, to get him off his bike, to stop the pressure that's coming downhill. But at the same point, you got to avoid that. You got to be able to maintain your own distance and let his lack of output be his downfall while you're capitalizing on it and outstriking him, outpointing him, and just making him miss. I have a hard time seeing Marc-Andre Barriult do that. Let's see if I'm proven wrong. If we are, we always know it's accountability hour, but I see Chris Curtis working that really well.
And folks, you came here to win some money, so rock with the play right here. Give us Chris Curtis. Smash that minus 170 money line right there. I do like that plus 160 decision. I think that's actually something that I'm going to dive into. That's a $10, $15 bet right there. You just throw a little something, something on it. You put the majority of your units on that minus 170 Chris Curtis money line. I love the play. AJ, you got anything else on that one?
Bro, that's exactly what I was going to say too, man. I love that decision if you're looking for a prop or something, somewhere in there, but it makes a lot of sense to me.
All right. And with that being said, let's move on.